Yes. Yes. We are in. What is up? How's everybody doing? All right. You see that thing right there, right? Can you read down on the screen? For those of you on the podcast, you definitely can't read the screen. It says SEMPERFRY LLC.com. Something just flickered. And I will always love. No, that's not what I was going with. This right there. B-Day Girl 10% off. B-Day Girl 10% off. There. See my crooked finger? Help me get it better. Go there. It's crooked. This thumb's all jacked up too. They wouldn't give me a surgery when I needed one. So now I got a crooked finger. See the difference? I can pick my nose around corners now. Okay. B-Day Girl 10% off. Semper Fi. Look at how crazy that thing looks. Semper Fi LLC.com. All right. Now you know. Hi. If you're already listening to this as a podcast, please listen to it on Spreaker. That's the link above. Or you can just go to Spreaker and look up the show name and you'll be able to find me. Thank you. Yeah, you son of a bitch. Hold on. No, I got to look again. See what they made me do? Oh, good. I had that on correctly as well. I'm doing good today. And if I get rid of that one, I can show you that. So that's where it is up there. Okay? Spreaker.com. It's like speaker with a P in there that doesn't, no, an R in there that doesn't, it doesn't belong. Spreak. But not like, yeah, no, there's no sense. None whatsoever. I can't vouch for that. There you go. Okay. Well, here we are. We are here. And we have a couple things to go over today. I have something I would like to read to you. It's just sexy every time. Okay.
You lousy corksuckers. You have violated my Fargan rights. This Samanambachin country was founded so that the liberties of common patriotic citizens
Like me.
could not be taken away by a bunch of Fargan iceholes like yourselves. You Fargan sneaky bastards.
That's right. Fargan ice holes too. Duh. What's this doing here? Oh yeah. Did I get the right finger this time? You still have to do that. That hasn't stopped. If you want to watch anything on the cool kids, you want to sit with the cool kids? You want to be at the cool kids table at lunchtime? It's only $5 a month, and we don't get it. It just helps to upkeep the table itself. Okay, the table requires maintenance. All right. Is that still on? Hold on. I don't even think it was still on. Oh man. See how I'm still in the background? It's kind of creepy. Like, woo. Neat. I have an extra 4K camera here, but it's only 30 frames per second. Not 60. If you're a person out there who's looking for equipment for your own camera, not for your own camera, for your own computer. First, we have to assume that you have a computer and you bought it before RAM and GPUs went insanely, or you're just rich, in which case you haven't been providing this show nearly enough support yet. If you are a possessor of said computer, a Logitech Brio cameras, get it into 4K, obviously, paired with OBS. OBS is basically your control center for choosing what you want it to, what level capacity. You can have it at 1980. You can have it at 1440, like the 280, 28, whatever the hell it is for 2K and 4K and whatever else. You can set it all through the OBS, which makes it a lot easier, better. I don't even, and honestly, I can tell you right now, I'm at 1980, which is 1080, right? And it's at 60 frames per second because that's not going to crash most people's stream when I do that. But when I do like when I do gaming very infrequently, I'll kick that up to something like 1440, or I'll keep it at 1980 1080p, but I'll just slam the bit rate up to like 28,000 or 30,000 or something like that. Right now we're at 8,000. So yeah, that way when fast motion happens with graphics, you don't get a bunch of like blurry pixelation. Is it pixelization? Is it pixelization or is it pixelation? I don't think I'd throw an extra syllable in there, right? Pixelize? Is that even a thing? There's just pixelation. I don't know. Write me. Let me know. Okay, so what do we got here? Boom. Oh, that was slow. Story time with Daniel. Yeah. I mean, I'm doing goldfish face, or maybe it's the duck face. No, it's not really duck face. It didn't suck my cheeks in as much. I was like, ooh, like that. My little brother used to do that. I used to get him to do when he was a little baby, like toddler. I go, Steven, and he'd do it back. It was just so fun. He was such a good kid. And when he got older and we used to wrestle, because I'm like 10 years older than him, I let him win. Don't tell him, because right now he'd probably kick my ass. But yeah, I used to let him win. So I got a few in reserve in case he wants to, come at me, bro.
Think white and get serious.
Okay. I'm on it. Stop yelling at me. Let's start here. Can you cracker see that? You know what? First, let me do this. Let me open up the FTJ so I can see what people are doing over here. Zip. A little early because I have to bring my daughter to a. Oh, there's yeah. If that's still going, then I'm definitely not going to be seeing anybody here. Everybody's over at the bad guys. We got Giuseppe Vaffanculo. Giuseppe Vaffanculo. It has James Mason, Dave Gahari, and a really cool dude named Les Morley from Canada. Really cool guy. Really, really cool guy. Tell him I said so. In case I ever want like a discount on maple syrup or some shit. Yeah, or go to a hockey game. All right. Let's open this biznatch up. Open a new tab. Don't screw it up this time. And then, yeah, as you guys should know by now, my phone is a POS, not a point of sale. You used to use it as a point of sale back in the day. That was good times. That's what instead of having like a highly expensive like register system and all digitized and easy to identify what my actual sales were, I used just a standard register with, the carbon print paper or whatever, and then I use an old phone it's probably 9-10 years old now, maybe older, could be older than that, but I had the just dedicated for running the PayPal app, and that was it. So I mean, it was very, very primitive by today's standards, but it was a flat screen. I mean, it was a flat, not button phone. That wasn't like a BlackBerry or something like that, or a flip. It was a regular phone, but it was just very limited, which was perfect because that means other people. I only had one employee try to screw with it and like go online when they were supposed to be working. Only one idiot that I fired. The rest should have had their own, but you learn things about people, like what degenerates they are when they start working for you. Anyhow, see the subscribe thing here? It doesn't really make a difference. But if you're here and you're like already a member of the, where does it say? Get FTJ Pro. See that right there? I'm going to show you a funny thing. Come on. Come on. What's taking so long? Bruh, why are you spinning? You're already subscribed to this plan, see? Told you. But if you're already a member, you may as well follow the goddamn channel, right? You learn things, don't you think? Just kind of that thing you should do. All right. So I was having some issues with Instagram again today. At first, it wasn't showing me the type of stuff that it took me outside of my bubble. Because, once you start liking things, that's the only things that they give you. And whatever you follow, they start sending you more videos of theirs and things like it is similar to. And then they try to pair it up. And now, because of, Jews in Israel and shit like that, they like to pepper in some bullshit, JLM, Jews Lives Matter type of crap with all these Jew coalition stuff. And I'm like, wow, that's funny. Not interested. Not interested. I do that for a lot of things, but that's the one that sticks out the most. Yeah. And I just realized I got to pop out this chat too. And then I have to copy it. This is the part where Brave doesn't like this. So I copy it. Once I've popped it out, you're not going to see this, I don't think, because it's not in the tab bar. But then I have to open it up, drop it in, hit paste, and then enter. And then I just drag it over to my other tab for Christos Cast. And let's do a refresh to see if there's any motherfuckers watching me. It's 7. Ooh. All right. All right. No one's talking yet. Say something. I'm going to say hi like a freaking weirdo. Because I'm a weirdo. Oh, I don't even know if we have any. Hey, anybody over here in the Crusaders chat that is still a mod? Because everybody migrated to Rumble and FTJ that I know. So if there's not another mod in this chat, message me about that too. Because if you guys should be having a VIP, there's not going to be anybody there monitoring that I know that will give it to you. But I can just do it. So I can just give you the permissions to put the to attach images and stuff like that. All right? All right. I don't know if there's a whole lot of people left over there. I'm getting my house ready for tomorrow. What are you doing, Karen? You selling it? It's not yours, is it? That's the best thing to sell. It's a 400% profit every time. Family invasion, Father's Day. Oh, shit. You had to say that, right? I got to call my dad tomorrow, but without a phone. I want to call my daughter's phone. That's what I'll do. Yeah. Yeah, see. I got to remember his number. I used to know everybody's number. Those were the days. All right, so here it is. I reposted this. It says, the people who long ago in Rome polished up a Greek Jew tale, as in they were not Greek. They were whatever we would call today Jews, but they didn't have an identity by that quite yet. So that's why I'm saying they're not an ethnicity by the term Jew. Okay, they might be an ethnic group by and large, but for the most part, just like everybody else is kind of little bits of every other little thing, but they're not like the term Jew does not make them an ethnicity. For the simple fact that you can convert to it probably is a good way to figure that out, unless you're retarded. That I can't convert to Italian, but I already am Italian, so it's okay. You can't convert to Swahili, whatever the fuck that is. I think that's a language, or I don't know what the fuck. Anyhow, the people who long ago in Rome polished up a Greek Jew tale. Remember, Ptolemy, Ptolemy, was a general of Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great met with a convenient accident, and people said, no, he didn't. He died at age 32 or 36 or something like that. Yeah, I know. Kind of young, wouldn't you say? And he was having failing health and losing his marbles rapidly. And the intrigue of what were yet to be called Jews had a lot to do with it. The merchant class, the Habaru Shagaz, the bandits, merchants, and thieves. And I'm pretty sure that's why Ptolemy decided that he was going to, just like Cyrus, just like King Ahasuerus. All these stories are probably bullshit and made up, but it does paint a picture of pattern behavior, a pattern of behavior, which is 100% accurate to them. So yes, they'll be the intriguers. They'll be favored in a place or given trust. And the idea here is we're assimilating, everybody's getting along. We can put our whatever's behind us and we can all benefit from this wonderful society that we've created. And they'll play along with it the moment they get an opportunity to let your greatest enemy into a vulnerable spot, a way to access your kingdom and take you down, sometimes without a fight because they're already in your gates, like they did with the Visigoths. And they opened up the gates for the Muslims. So if they're so anti-Muslim, why did they do that? And remember, Rome was the home. Rome was the home for the creation of. You got to think about this too, right? Greece was the home for the creation in the Hellenistic period of what they could consider the Tanakh, Torah, whatever, all the bullshit that they scrubbed from real stories of real Gothic, Aryan, and Greek heroes that were chronicled in the library, and then stole their attributes and manufactured people for their own history because they were envious of the Greeks. So the moment they were taught how to read and write in Greek, they started writing yellow journalism / revisionist history, and then putting themselves in prominence and calling themselves the chosen. This is what happens when you give the Saturn cult a pen and a book. It's a bad idea, because they're used to just murdering and terrorizing and starving people to death and poisoning them and taking snake venom laced drugs. Leave them to doing that, right? And then isolate them from people that you like, so that they can only abuse people you don't like, because they're going to abuse people if there's people. That's just what they do. So this Greek Jew tale about Laestes, I didn't bother to put the little weird, what they call that, like the roof on the house thing over one of the E's, I think it is. Or maybe it's a line across, I don't know. But Laestes is a child trafficking or human trafficking pirate. This person was in the telling by the Greek, and remember, the Greek that wrote this were probably Oys themselves. They were probably Saturn cult / soon to be Jew, known as Jews, writing the story. So whether they were just talking about one of their own buddies, or they were writing something that they think that the Greeks would find appalling by somebody, this story of Jesus started off as a story of like how rotten this guy was. And then through 2 Nicene councils, they polished him into a savior and gave him to the Christians. The, Judaism light, basically. And the Romans did that. So regardless if it was a real person who was a really awesome dude, and the people, including the control mechanism of the Romans and the Jews, saw a danger here of this guy liberating, giving people the idea that they don't need government because they are all God's chosen people. They're all God's people. They weaponized the whole thing into the chosen and being just them, and that there can only be one savior. And they have this messianic complex, which I don't even know where the origination of that was, because as far back as 5,000 BC, I'm sorry, not 5,000 BC, 5,000 years ago, like 3,400 BC, They didn't have any concept of a God. They didn't have a messianic faith at all. They encountered our people. That was the first time they even thought of the concept of a God or a creation story or monotheism came from your Gothic Aryan ancestors, as well as baptism, the concept of marriage and a family life, because they were into orgiastic rituals and drug rituals. And they were also into incest, which all translates over to, including the drugs, including the orgies, including the eating of human flesh. That all translates over to Frankism and drinking blood, as does into rabbinical babbling bullshit too. So just say, oh, I love when people yell at me for talking about the Frankists. I'm like, yeah, but you don't get it. They infiltrated into the Roman Catholic Church as baptized into it. And then next thing you know, the Asiatic, the Moravian, the Bohemian, the Plymouth, the exclusive brethren, these evangelical quote unquote Protestants, giving Protestants a bad name because Protestants themselves, when they were purely like Lutheran, like Martin Luther Lutheran, not what they just call Lutheran now, that was all very healthy way of thinking. These people are inherently evil, said Martin Luther. So naturally, these infiltrators who co-opt things had to take over a lot of the Protestant sects, sects, and give them a bad name. Rome already hated them, and so do Roman Catholics, and so do Jesuits, obviously. So they had a lot of, if you were looking for somebody to reinforce they're bad, these Protestants are bad, you had plenty of people in high positions to say so. So that gives a really bad impression of what Protestantism is altogether. Now, it's an argument for somebody else because although I have tendencies to appreciate certain characters and movements more than others, which was just natural, and when you respect the values and the virtues of them, it's not like I'm any of those things. I was about to say anymore or either. I was raised Catholic and then Christian. We went to a Catholic church for a while when I was little. I went to a Catholic school for kindergarten, and then they closed the next year, St. Paul's Assumption. It's like St. Paul's hunch. St. Paul's pretty sure. Yeah. So after that, I went back into public school, but I got the first communion, confirmation, all that, all that stuff. Took a confirmation name of my great grandfather William, and I did all the things in the way that there's the institution and there's the people. The institution will be giving the public persona, and the people will naturally try to emulate the good of that because that's what they're there for in the first place. Now that gives the cover of the institution, this glow or this reputation of being good, so they can do bad and not be as quickly expected or suspected and get away with it for a long time. Hence, everything else that gets co-opted, right? But these things were built kind of from the beginning not to be good, just to appear good and to be a control mechanism to capture minds into an idea and a fear system where you better do this and you better do that and you better not do this and you better do that. And what better thing to, that Rome, yeah, you should give to Caesar what is his, bro. And some people will read that and say, well, the whole joke there is that he doesn't own anything, so therefore you give him exactly that. There's an argument for that, but it's also, if you think of it in the manner in which the Nicene Council that was set forth to do things for Rome, gee, I wonder how that got in there, right? It's kind of funny. What do you want the people to do? You want them to have a tax revolt, or you want them to think that God told them to give them what you asked them to give them? Let me think about that for a moment, right? They had enough of the Jews' revolts. Back when the Jews fought their own battles, apparently. I don't even know if that's true or not. Probably not. So anyhow, the people who long ago, so the late days, a trafficking pirate, and made him the one and only true savior of Christianity. They developed. Know your Gothic area. Araya. Araya actually is a full term on its own. Or Aryan or Araya, both work. So it's not a typo. And it says, "Don't say the psychopaths didn't warn us," says this Maz Palsvig gentleman here. And I said, and I'm sorry, this is from Marcus Eli Ravage. A long time ago, I read a little bit from his book that is called "A Real Case Against the Jews and Commissary to the Gentiles." You have not begun to appreciate the real depth of our guilt. We, Jews, are intruders. We are disturbers. We are subverters. We have taken your natural world. So this is really important because I always say we're in an artificial bubble. We're in an artificial world within a world. Like this place could just as easily be heaven on earth, could be a paradise, could be awesome. But these people constantly poison it, poison our minds, and control us in this monetary system where they turn a world of abundance that God had intended for all to enjoy. This is like our vacation spot before we go back into, beams of light or whatever the hell, energy. This is our time to experience existence, and they have to fuck with it. So, taking our natural world, but not totally, what they did is they put a ball around inside, a smaller world within a world. And that could very well be also a metaphor for if there's anything beyond the ice wall. Who knows? It's like we're the snow globe, and these guys like to shake the fuck out of it. All right. We have taken your natural world, your ideals, right. So if you have morals, ethics, values, virtues, they'll manipulate your good nature and weaponize it against you. It's exactly what is being said there. Your destiny, and this is what I write when I write people messages in my book, when I say, your name and then like, thank you for taking interest in this strange, often dark history of ours. And I go, or is it ours? It appears something or some, entity has co-opted mankind's timeline and is guiding their destiny into oblivion. Something to that nature, I usually say. And I said, the only path out is truth. Enjoy the journey. We have been at the bottom. Sounds like he's talking about Roy Cohn now. He was a bottom. Not merely of the latest great war, but of nearly all your wars. Yeah, well, thanks. We kind of figured that. Not only of the Russian, but of every other major revolution in your history. We have, You stir up doubt. This is what you do. You stir up doubt. People are living fine. They're all happy. They're content. You start planting seeds of doubt in their minds, and then when you have the ability, when you got to that point in history where you had the ability to arm them and then give them intel, you caused people to fight against each other, weakening both sides so that you could just step over the carcasses and do whatever you would like. And in the meantime, in the chaos of war, all kinds of looting, pillaging, raping, what merchant class cutthroats and bandits will do. And then it got more sophisticated, of course, when they started operating by proxy mostly, but by the purse strings primarily, full countries or their armies to do their bidding. It says we have been at the bottom of not merely of the latest great war, but of nearly all your wars, not only of the Russian, but of every other major revolution in your history. We have brought discord, discordia, Eris and her 14 children of discord. Eris was also a name of a COVID strain that allegedly was more, because it's all bullshit, because it maybe varying poisons, but they have no right to be calling a variant in the first place when they haven't ever established or isolated one virus ever. How do you say that it's a variant of the thing that you can't even identify? Shut up. There's no test for any of it because you don't know what it is. Because it isn't a thing. You're pointing people in the wrong direction because you poison them, and then you poison them some more, and then you hit them with freaking, EMR or whatever, and then you inject them with poison, and then you'll say, oh, yeah, that was it was resistant to the shot, and that's a new strain. You're right. Because it never worked in the first one. Anyway. We have brought discord and confusion. And you know who Magna Mater and Eris, like this. They may as well be the same thing. Magna Mater, you know who always follows Magna Mater? She's the one in lead. Saturn. Now, why is that interesting? Because it seems as though Eris may also be influenced by the memory of Elu, El, or Jaime, whatever name you want to pick. They're all titles and names or whatever for the sorceress of the serpent cult that our ancestors wrote about pre-Sumerian times that became so important that it was carried on in tradition and, sung by the, whatever they call those people, at the seasonal festivals, the seers or whatever they would call them, usually a female. And it was the same story that was spoken of in the Britons. That's what they called the British Edda. It's not called the British Edda by anybody except for Ellie Waddell. It's the Prose Edda, it's the Elder Edda, it's this, that, the other thing. Snorri Sturluson ruined history because, number one, trying to identify the language by using the wrong language to translate it, but also not understanding that the guy who went and tried to rescue all these documents from the Christians who were destroying all history, God knows what we lost, guys. Christians were a demolition crew, just like the Muslims, just like Jews when they are in power. They ruin and destroy history so that there's no inspiration, there's no ideas or thoughts being planted. They want to be the planters the cultivators of thought. They want you to think their way. That's why they prey upon your children with the gender shit and every other bad idea that they promote. So where was I with that? Yeah, so when he gathered the documents, he didn't take time to put him in a particular order. I believe it was a farmer, son of a farmer or something like that, which still make him a farmer. Gathered all of them and then put him in safekeeping away from the Christians somewhere in Iceland. So they just assumed that it was an Icelandic language that was written in and that it was an Icelandic tale. It wasn't. That's why Waddell calls it the British Edda. But that story itself harkens all the way back to Karshemish and Cappadocia. 3,336 BC or something like that. We have brought discord and confusion and frustration into your personal and public life. Right. Chaos agents. We are still doing it. No one can tell how long we shall go on doing it. Marcus Eli, ravaging Rick Rude. That's ravishing, I know. Jewish author. Nobody should ever tell these people how to read and write. Fuck you, Ptolemy. But I'm sure you favored them because they probably helped you poison your alleged best friend. Double high five from the chest from Edward Snap. Whoa, Edward, thank you. Jesus. Aloha Snack Bar says, Aloha snack bar brother, says Edward Snowman, and same to you, sir. And thank you very much for the double high five to the chest. That's hold on. I still hit it. I still hit it even when I tried to move out of the way. All right, so I'm going to be back again later. I got to go bring my daughter to a water. What do they call it? What do they call those things? It's not a water park. Oh my god, aquatic center. There we go. I'm gonna go to the aquatic center for a birthday party is being held there for one of her school friends, and the pool. My pool is like bath water now because it's been so hot, which is awesome. But there's, I don't know. It's like they throw cubes in it at night, or they dump it out and fill it back up again because it's always cold. So I usually just melt in the sun and then just endure it until it's time to go home. Hello, Bushmaster. I get to do a lot of these today. It's like the V for victory, right? Anybody who's alive in the 80s might remember that show. Let's see. Happy Father's Day, Daniel, says Karen. Thank you, Karen. Immortal AI. Yes. Thank you, Immortal AI. Appreciate it. Appreciate all the positivity. We've got 1423 Water Waffen. COVID was also from the Jews. Yes, and the Jew lovers who sold us out. Exactly. And then it says they want us to be either dead or turned into mud sand diggers to erase us from existence. Yes, these are all true things. Right? Everything's a bioweapon with them. They utilize people as bioweapons. Absolutely freaking ugly. And you would be I don't know, Warwaffen, I'm not 100% sure like what you've read and what you haven't read, because how would I know that? But there's a lot of interesting history about this alleged Andalusian paradise that never was real. It was the abuse of the Muslims and their tyranny over Spain, the Visigoth kingdom, whatever that entailed, for like 700 plus years, all because the Jews just opened the gates for them. And yes, that was directly our ancestors that, for whatever reason, adopted Christianity. They got a lot of flack and bullshit through the histories with Rome betraying them all the time, but they still maintained their dignity and their nobility. There's a lot of like, if you haven't, I think maybe the best place to start would be with Asher Logos, because of any of the stuff that they haven't ripped off of YouTube by now, because they like took down like 5 of his videos that were amazing. You'll be able to find him referring to books, and every one of those books that he's referenced, I've gone and I've read just to see the whole story. And one of those things, he just happened to mention Lawrence Austin Waddell, I think, and that's how I got onto looking at all the books that Waddell had written, including Makers of Civilization and Race and History. And that was coming prior to the censoring of post-World War II. So it's a perfect time that it was, that it came out. And they said, proved, but was widely ignored. That's different than saying, because, the academia has to agree with itself. Proved it. Overwhelmingly, with overwhelming evidence, proved that there was a Gothic Aryan single origin of all civilizations in the ancient world. From Sumer or Sumeria, if you whatever, Babylonian, Persia, Iran, Iraq. That's kind of relevant now. The Indus Valley, India, coming up with, and a lot of these places look like they were melted too. You have Cappadocia with what they call like the fairy chimneys or something like that, and then you see all these little holes in it looks like stone. Those could have been melted castles. I mean, the same thing with Mohenjo-Daro. There's just a bunch of dead people laying on the streets and on the side and like steps and stuff like that. Like something happened really quickly and stone or sand turned into glass. Like, what the fuck was going on back then? And they were obviously targeting our people, just like the Assyrians, who, again, the Jews helped them, or now they weren't called that back then. They were the remnants of the serpent cult, or you could call them the moon cult of child sacrifice and pharmakia. They, got the Assyrians all worked up to kill us, and they did so in brutal, butchering ways, skinning us alive, cutting off our lips, tongues, and all this other shit, and then hunting us down. They tried to exterminate the entire founders of what was once Samaria / Babylon or whatever, and they fled into the Indus Valley, second wave into the Indus Valley. So it's important to know that history. That yes, why are things good? There is a certain group that was noble, protected the people that it led, that it ruled over, and everybody was happy. And then along comes Parasite, fucks all things up, sows seeds of discord, right? Makes subversives and insurgents out of people that were perfectly content. Oh yeah, you're right. They don't represent me as well as they should. Meh. So, here, let me see something here. There you go. Now you're a VIP. If you refresh Warloff and you get VIP'd. All right. All right. Let's go back over here real quick. Good evening to Thomas E. Dwyer. No, not at all. Not even close to the same human being. Zach and Asha. Zach couldn't hold. No. Not even close. And I'll show you guys real quick. I probably have to follow him again anyway, because I was probably following him on my other channel that got deleted. I'll find out in a second. I am subscribing. I didn't see this. I didn't see the archive. A fan-made archive. Yeah, that's all right. That be all right. So our subverted history is the playlist. And I don't think he's put anything up new in a long time, but no, he hasn't. But this is a great video. I actually covered it. How the winged hussar saved Europe. More of our ancestors. The chaos before the storm. Well, it depends on what we're referring to as a storm, but yeah. So our subverted history, and don't ask me why, or I don't even know if you can find the ones that they stole out of here. I don't know. But hold on, I'm just gonna pause it real quick and see how many. 1 through 14. Now, are they all here? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Did I get that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9 there. It's written right there. So there's 5 missing right there. Why? So you got starts with part 2, not part 1. 2, 3, and there's 4, 4.2, 4.3, 5.1, 5.2, 5.3, and 6. 5 unavailable videos are hidden. Why? Why would they do that? Why is it that we allow ourselves to be treated like children by other entities that have taken upon themselves to behave in a manner as if they have some sort of authority over us? Why would we allow this? Why would we allow that? Doesn't it make you angry to have somebody else treat you like a child and tell you what you should and shouldn't be experiencing or exposed to? We're not children. We're adults. Put an age thing on here if you have a problem. They do have that, so that's an actual setting. I don't know why I didn't ever do that. Oh, because it's a different channel. So yeah. But the Scythian and their kin. Yeah, the whole introduction was really good. I mean, you might be able to find him on Twitter, I guess. I know he's on there. I'm pretty sure I'm already following him. If I'm not, I will be. Yeah, right there. There's Asha Logos. Now, you might be able to ask him where the missing ones are, if anywhere, if he has a backup somewhere. And I'm also pretty sure that he may have a Telegram, but I don't think it's called that. I think it's called something else, because I remember him. But this was years ago, because these videos are older, that he had been talking about a Telegram group. And for all I know, because he's been inactive for so long, maybe his stuff is just going on there because of, you know, how it would just run friction to this thing, to the YouTube pieces of shit. All right. So we went there to there. Marcus Eli Ravage. And like I said, we've gone over this before. This person says, oh, it's Peyton. Peyton's the one that's just, she's resharing it, right? And that's obviously that's a face from Jurassic Park, right? The girl. It says, I want to live in a country where there are so few minorities that we have to resort to being racist against Italians again just to feel that rush. Actually, I said, I'm Italian, I approve this message, but really it was more like the Irish. And it says, always remember when Twitter, I'm going to call it that other thing, when Twitter updated the platform and showed the DHS is based in Israel, the Department of Homeland Security account based in Tel Aviv. That kind of goes a long way to, you know, corroborate what I'm saying, that it's all one entity. Israel and the United States are all one thing, powered by Federal Reserve and the Bank of England, which is really the control that started all this shit. And then once European banking, the Bank of England had acquired us through intrigue, of course, through civil war, of course, and were able to plant their Federal Reserve here. Well, now they have control over, because they had enough infiltrators in our government already to co-opt the whole goddamn thing, and they had full control over what our military does. So then we became the military force to expand the powers of the Saturn cult of child killers. And so what do? Well, we sent a bunch of people to Russia to with 20 million in gold via, you know, by transaction or whatever of the looting of America through the Federal Reserve to Jacob Schiff to the Bolsheviks, just so they could kill 60 million. I don't know, Christian, whatever. They were Russian innocent people, right? Right. And then that paved the way for a World War I and World War II, which we fought for not our interests. If that was the case, we would have been allies with Germany both times. Because that would have made more sense. Even with Kaiser Wilhelm. There is. Did I put it up here? No, I didn't. All right, we're gonna play this just a second. Then I'll get into the reading.
All right, let's see what this is all about. What just happened?
Hold on. We gotta do this. This is Estepario. This guy is insane.
All right, let's see what this is all about. What just happened? How is he doing his stick tricks like that? Bro, he's playing the best drum intro ever. One-handed. How is he swiping his drumstick across the drums like that?
Sit in both ends.
Bro, this guy is not human.
It's pretty awesome. Anyway, that's Estepario. You can actually find him. It's a longer name, but Estepario is enough for you to find him on YouTube. All right, let's do it. But first, I'm gonna fuck with you a little bit. Right about. Remember when I was talking about this? This guy makes a much bigger deal about it. But yeah, let's start with this.
Do you see? Camera, let's go.
I think you've seen this one before. I think I played this a long time ago. Just chewing on a bone.
Your name is... Do you see?
It's a pretty awesome bird. Oh, good. Oh, good. I'm glad you cleared that up. See, it says C translation. Oh, got it. Yeah, and into a different other. Yeah, great. Thanks. Good times. There's something. Oh, yes, we can do that. Here's 2 of those. Think it was right about. This is disgusting. Breaking New Hampshire. New Hampshire is a nice place. Why are we letting this in New Hampshire? Molten Borough is a beautiful place. Why the hell do we let this exist? Period. Hey, look, Ghostbusters. Huh. New Hampshire's first transgender elected representative? What the fuck is wrong? Oh, Jews. Right. Forgot. Sorry. Stacey Lawton. Oh, surprise you're a Democrat. Sentenced to 33 years. Wow, that's all full of symbolism and Masonic bullshit. Right along with the inverted rainbow here. In prison for the sexual exploitation of children. Good. How about make her also the last? See the laurel leaves too? That's also Roman. New Hampshire's first openly transgender elected state representative has been sentenced to 33 years in federal prison for the sexual exploitation of children. Yeah, well, how about decapitation next time? On a stake, so that everybody else has to see it. And people get to take turns for a full month walking around. They get full pay from their employers if they're employed. They get to walk around the town's perimeter with the head on the stick, reminding people what happens when you fuck with children in your territory. That would be a good punishment, right? For her, him, whatever the fuck that is. Born Barry Charles Lawton, biological. Oh, thanks for that, because that would totally look like a chick. Thanks for clearing that up. Served as a Democrat in New Hampshire House from 2020 to 2022. He pleaded guilty to aiding and abetting the production of child sexual abuse material. So the abuse occurs. They're stealing children for this abuse, or their parents are evil and selling them into it. And then they're distributing and selling the recordings, the videos of this consistently repetitive abuse after abuse after abuse, if it's not a snuff film. And this is the thing that you don't ever know with any of these cases is, are they leaving details out that would make this crime even more heinous? And are they leaving that out because of other people who could be involved or tied up in it? Other members of what we consider our government, quote unquote. After pressuring his former partner, a daycare worker, to take explicit photos of children in her care. His former partner. So, an equally hideous female, apparently. A daycare worker. To take explicit photos. His ex-partner also pleaded guilty in the case. Oh, so she didn't say no and report him. She did it. It's always the people you most expect. Yeah, right? That's a good way of putting it. Why does this look like the former wrestling teacher dude in Billy Madison? Yeah. I want you, Billy, from Principal Anderson. P.S. I'm horny. It does look like him. Ready? Hold on. There you go. With a stupid mask on his face. Why don't people like that ever suffocate? Nah. Rate the audit. Well, this one's important, but we'll come to that another time. You've heard of this, I'm sure.
A Zio woman goes viral for laughing about the report of 250,000 little girls getting essayed.
You know, I actually heard Brian Young say the word Zio in a video recently from Here's the Deal, also High Impact Flicks, vlogs, whatever. I'm not sure how versed he is in this, but it was at least good to hear other people talking about it. That, you know, he has a bigger platform. He should be. But a lot of times on YouTube, people tiptoe around certain things. Calling it Zio in the first place is kind of like a code, you know, saying it more cryptic anyway. Fucking Jews. You know, that's a little bit more direct.
Inquiry report is out. And I'm going to try not to laugh because it feels mean.
And the craziest thing about this is this Zio woman, she's in charge of running the victims side. So the Zio protect the SAers and then also protect the victims too. And then typical Zio, they charge a $5 membership fee for the victims. $20 if it's a family member. Insane. You can't make this stuff up. And after that video went viral, she changed her profile pic to her laughing at the victims. Again, you can't make this stuff up. She used to work for Jerusalem Post. She is pro-Zio, pro is not real, anti-Pally. She is a G-side.
Pro is not real. Yes, good one on that. No, man, it's real. It's real. No, it's not. It's not. Nothing about that's real. Zion, S-I-O-N, it's a bunch of bullshit too. It's all bullshit. All of it. Everything they say.
Denier. She is racist against Arabs, racist against whites. And going through her X profile, she does more to protect SAers and constantly downplays numbers and throws shade on statistics. She's controlled opposition, watering down and hurting the victim side. Azio.
And she's ugly as fuck. That's the other part to mention. That this cunt, who nobody would rape if she was spread eagle, is laughing at their bioweapon working well because 250,000 children are being sexually abused because of their immigration infiltration and all the other perversions that they bring into the fucking world. So it's like, oh yeah, we're just checking up on our progress. Yay. And then she laughs. And she's the head of that. Boy, oh boy, what a great little system they've got going on there, don't they? That's just like that the cult Friends Network. That's a cult. Literally a cult. It's a psyop. It's a lie. They take and they abuse the abused, and they silence them. It's a cleanup crew for the types of cults that they manufacture through, military intelligence. And then when they get out of control, and then there's, potential for exposure of their people, they'll swoop in and clean up the mess, sanitize the crime scene, and then re-abuse the children, or they disappear. That's what the Cult Friends, or whatever the fuck it's called, network does.
Woman goes viral.
I don't know. Need to know what his, it's gross. So this is interesting because we talk about the Civil War all the time. So we'll entertain this one, then I'll jump in the other thing. I got like maybe 10 minutes to read that Marcus thing.
There is a lot more to the American Civil War than you have been taught. The parasites have had their hands.
See, that's his way of calling it the demonic infiltrating, co-opting, imposter Jews, right? Or Saturn cult by many names. Fellow travelers, Kabbalists is a good way to group them together.
In the politics of this world for a long time.
Because it's not just, the Jews wouldn't have gone this far if they didn't get if they weren't influencing and making an impression and winning over people who aren't them to do things, who have their hands on the levers of society and shit. Is that Jim Carrey? What am I looking at? Hold on. What is that? No, it's not. It just looks like Jim Carrey. Never mind. I don't care anymore. All right.
And what I want to focus on is the ruins, the aftermath of these battles. These are scenes out of Charleston, Richmond, and other southern cities. And what you will see here is the same scene of devastation.
All from the top.
Great fires, all happening around the same period.
Yeah, but why? Like, it looks like things coming from down, right? I mean, there might be some side impacts things, but a lot of it looks like there's like the shell of the buildings, and then there's nothing on top, as if something came down on it.
Period. And scenes of destruction that, in my opinion, do not track with just cannonballs. though they certainly have a lot of stage shots with people posing with them. Did all these little cannonballs littered in this shot here really do this to these cities? These cities look like they were carpet bombed.
Right.
Looking just like the scenes of devastation, not from just the Great Fires, but from World War II and World War I. I think there were the ruins of the old world, from some long ago battle. As you can see, what appears to be years of overgrowth in some of these photos. And it looks like us inheritors just do what we did best. Came across these founded ruins and started to go to work on rebuilding. And just the ruins that you do see that have survived look so very weathered. Mind you, this is around 1865. Most of this should have been relatively new construction, yet it looks hundreds of years old and very overgrown for what should have been a recently new battle. And another small strange scene, we have a soldier standing guard at a orphan asylum in Charleston.
An orphan asylum. An orphan asylum. 1865 was a fucked up year. If the Republic was gone, the wrong side won. The Federalists, the central government, the pro-central government, which was another mechanism tool for central banking. The Federalists, you know about the Federalists. That's what Lincoln was fucking people up for, because the Union was saying, no, you don't get consent of the governed. And this was all based on the bank's pressure, right? That and he was a willful participant. But they don't want you to separate, because that weakens their power and their influence over the entire territory. They don't want separate little nations or nation states. They don't want that. So the punishment for seceding was the war, but it was also a punishment for getting out of debt with Alexander Hamilton. Andrew Jackson. Wow, that was really not cool. Andrew Jackson. They didn't want another repeat of that. They needed to indebt us so that they could own us, and they needed the right amount of people in the right places in our government back when it was still a government to make that happen. And they did. And we lost. And the only people actually fighting for the spirit of America were in the South. And there was a shit ton of dead people somewhere along that trail of like the 1850s to 1865, because I'm not saying that's how long the Civil War was. I know I get all that. I'm saying something happened, because also in addition to these ruins that they're talking about from the quote unquote war, which I'm sure most of that or a lot of that was it tracks to an actual war, but also what else did they find in the process, and where did all the people go? I get a war happened, but completely empty cities and these massive monumental buildings. 1876, there's a big World's Fair. Like what? None of this stuff makes any sense. But whoever won was tearing down the old world, because that's too inspirational. You don't want to remember what you used to be. You don't want to remember the glory of what it was like to live in the Republic, or even if you did inherit a few buildings from, let's say, some Scythians who traveled here by ship, or some Gothic Aryans, kind of the same people, kind of. Same attitude, same nobility to them. Same very strong family, tribal type of bonds with each other.
I believe a lot of this was caused by the airships and the whited out sky. But let me know what you think in the comment. Question everything.
Oh, airships with bombs dropping? Yeah, it could be.
Until next time.
Airship warfare. They would never even talk about that. They wouldn't want. Look at how crazy this dude is. Like, he doesn't look human. He has whatever that gigantism or whatever the fuck they call it. Like he's like a skinny freaking acromegalia or something like that. He's got like the he's like a skinny Andre the Giant. And then you have these two fuckers. And that might be one of those might be Sheridan and Sherman. I don't know. But they gotta let you know that they're Masonic by putting their hands in their shirts. The hidden hand. Facts. All right, well, I'll probably have to pick this up later, but I'll read a little bit now. A real case against the Jews. One of them points out the full depth of their guilt. Why would he, if he's writing it, why would it be written like that? Originally published in 1928 in the Century magazine. This sounds like it's already been sanitized. And then page 9, Commissary of the Gentiles. Forward. We are intruders. We are disturbers. We are subverters. We have taken your natural world, your ideals, your destiny, destiny. See, this, what kind of shit fucking is this? And played havoc with them. All right. Marcus Eli Ravage, 1884 to 1965, was a Jewish immigrant who spent much of his life in America hating it. Much of his life in America hating it and doing what he could to ruin it. Because they can live it. These people shit on their floors. Okay? They don't need nice things. So the parasite can live in filth because that's what it prefers. It's demonic. Everything that it, cleanliness and next to godliness, well, these people are pretty fucking far from godly. He is renowned for his literary work on the topic of immigration to America and Europe being between the two world wars. Ravage was also a biographer of the Rothschild family. Oh, that's wonderful. 5 Men of Frankfurt, 1929, as well as of Napoleon's second wife, Marie Louise, Empress Innocence, 1931. Sounds like he had a crush. Today, it is often claimed that the 2 articles featured in this booklet are simply works of satire. Is this a believable claim or nothing more than damage control? Any individual with sufficient knowledge of history, especially theological history, could easily prove many of Ravage's claims on the question of Jewish subversion throughout history to be entirely accurate. One can even use Ravage's own works on the history of the Rothschilds as evidence for the case. Here's the whole point. Whether they're telling you something, if the plan and the method and the strategy has been implemented and is being implemented, that is your proof of its accuracy, regardless of who writes about it. It could even be in a fucking fiction. Obviously, someone's adhering to that very plan. Or plagiarism, or forgery, or whatever else they want to use for, adjectives. No, this is quite literally what they're doing, and all the signs are there for that in being the case. Just like the protocols. Oh, that's not real. Like, define real. Is it a Rosicrucian meeting? Is it a fucking Jesuit meeting? Is it a freaking Freemasonic meeting? Is it just somebody writing out the plan with the very detailed arrogance and obnoxiousness that they go about talking about every way they're going to ruin you? And then you go and you look at it and you're like, well, there is an estate tax, there is a death tax, there is an inheritance tax, there are recurring debts, there are recurring utility bills, there's subscription services, all the things that they said they were going to do to whittle away your wealth and give it back to them, because misery is what they desire. They print the money. They want to take the true wealth, the true property from you through the scam of paper money that has no value. And this is exactly what the protocols talk about. So is it happening? Sure damn well it is. It is. It is. I don't know what I said. Sure damn well. You're damn sure. You're damn right. I don't know what I was going for. Please read the documents. Okay, thanks. I'm reading a book. Please read the book. Wow. Way to get compliance from me. A real case against the Jews. Well, it's 3:15 now. I might have to get going. Let's see. Originally published in the Century magazine, January 1928. Of course, you do resent us. It is no good telling me you don't. So let's not waste any time on denials and alibis. You know what? I got to get ready before I go too. I got to jump in my swimsuit thing. You do, and I know it, and we understand each other. To be sure, some of your best friends are Jews and all that. Well, one of them, yeah. I have, but he's not a religious one. He just happens to think it's an ethnicity. He's more Russian than anything else. And he's more American than anything else, honestly. His family was here long before mine was. 1850s or so. Mine came over, I think, my grandmother's, well, let's see, my dad's side might have been there for quite a while, but my grandmother on my mom's side, like her parents came over, I want to say in the 20s and 30s, maybe. Because I think my great grandparents were might be tangled up in something that Mussolini was trying to clean up, which was organized mafia crime. So I think they just, from what I gather, there, everybody had wooden shutters on the street. My great grandparents were the only ones that had glass, and that was more expensive. And there was no real explanation as to why they had the extra money, other than they might have been doing bigger things. I have heard that before once or twice, I think. I know too that you do not include me personally, me being any particular individual Jew, when you fling out at us in your wholesale fashion, because I am so different. You don't know? Almost as good as one of yourselves. Wow, this is weird. It's a hubris in action. That little exemption does not somehow move me to gratitude. Right, you don't have any gratitude. But never mind that now. It is these are sociopathic, dead inside, absolutely no concept or care for. They're completely indifferent to anything, suffering, any of that. Like, they're not going to be sad about it. They're not going to hesitate, but they might enjoy it as long as it's happening to you. But they're not going to be able to empathize. They're not going to be able to put themselves in that position. So the more dramatic the things that they do to people, the more of a rise they can get, because otherwise they're just flatline dead inside. That's a sociopath. I mean, not every sociopath's like that, but that's like a borderline personality disorder type person who has to pretend to be human because they don't know how to actually be human. It is the aggressive, climbing, pushing, materialistic sort you dislike. Those in a world who remind you so much of your own up and coming brethren. We understand each other perfectly. I don't hold it against you. Bless my soul. I do not blame anybody for disliking anybody. The thing that intrigues me about this anti-Jewish business, as you play at it, you make such fantastic and transparent excuses. You seem to be suffering from self-consciousness so horribly that if the performance were not so grotesque, it would be irritating. Okay, I do have to go. I hear the children's saying, "What the fuck you doing, Dad?" That kind of thing. Not in those words. Okay, hold on. Jews the destroyer. Protocols, calligraphy, all. Yeah, I put you back on there a while back, radio. All real. They can't even call protocols inaccurate. They call it play. Yeah, right. Exactly. Sure, damn well. I want a shirt that says that now. Oh my, you said gotta jump into my swimsuit thing. I instantly saw you in the Borat outfit. Yeah, well, I mean, that's not a onesie, but okay. We'll pick this up later on. Because I want to. And then yeah. All right. Sounds good. In the meantime, get your freaking 90 essential nutrients before I have to yell at you again. And you can go over here to get them. See that where I pressed the button there? Dr. Glidden's membership site. If you're not there, you totally missed the message. Ballbusters for 25% off. And then use code BB5 here on whatever the hell you want. But I show you in my description here what those 4 things are that you need for your 90 essential nutrients. Plus, I add the copper BB5 for your discount on anything on that site. Use the damn thing. Everybody else does. You too, Radio Zach. Is it today or it's on Sunday, right? Sunday's the Father's Day, right? It's on a Sunday. I hear my daughter yelling, "I gotta go. You're darn tootin'," he says. Maybe Europeans actually have been getting attacked by witches for millennia. This lady is a witch, yes. Inbred, satanic, trans, Freemason, elitist from New Hampshire. Yeah, that sucks. Let's see. You have been looking at vids on the World's Fair too. The Chicago World's Fair has unbelievable architecture. All right, so I hear my daughter. I guess she's talking closer and closer to the door, not really directly at me, but she's kind of giving me the hint. You know what I mean? Like she's trying to be like sweet about it, but she's just raising her voice each and every time. It's funny. Just to talk to her mom, which is standing right there. Like, I can't control the volume of my voice. So funny. All right, later.